Hello people, so this is my second video in the series Talk Croatian Interviews, and in this episode I have again a really good friend of mine, Ken, here with me.
So, hi, hello everyone.
So yeah, Ken, he's half Japanese, half Chinese, and he's really an interesting guy. And also, fun fact, he's also a big brother of mine.
Yeah, he's my little brother.
Yeah, I think that it's really self-evident why he's my big brother, because you can see
probably you can't
the difference.
Jump off the camera.
Yeah, but still, you can. I guess that you can kind of guesstimate how much bigger am I than him, and yeah, that's why it's really obvious why he's my big brother. I'm the younger brother.
Precisely.
And yeah, he was really nice to me when I was studying here in Australia. He was, yeah, really good friend.
Yeah, I think I've been here for like 3 years. Probably more familiar with this city.
Yeah. So yeah, he's been here for 3 years. As he said, he was studying also one master program prior to this one. So he knows everything. He taught me a lot. He also taught me a lot about the Asian culture, because he knows a lot because of being half Japanese, half Chinese.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have really great interest in that culture. So yeah, mostly I guess that in this interview we'll be talking about the cultural differences. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, first maybe we can start with really interesting information. Obviously here in Australia this is not interesting, this is kind of normal because everyone knows it. But where I'm from, I didn't know this, and it was kind of a shock for me that you actually have two names.
Right. Well, that's quite obvious since I'm a half Chinese, half Japanese, which means I have a Chinese name and a Japanese name. Well, and an English name as well, of course. 3
names?
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't know that. I only know that you had like, so it's really hard for the rest of the world to pronounce Chinese names. That's why you had like your own English name as well as your Chinese name. But I didn't know that you also have a third name.
Japanese name is... Actually, my Japanese name is quite similar to English name. Because, well, I'm the lucky one because my Japanese name is it's basically the same as one English name that really commonly seen in here, Australia. That's Ken. So Ken is a Japanese name and the English name as well.
So it's written the same? Okay, obviously in Japanese letters, but would you also like convert it into these Latinic letters also by having 2 N's? So it's written K-E-N-N.
Yeah, double N. So that's the way how to spell in Japanese.
Yeah, so it's the same.
The pronunciation is, well, I would say 89% of
the same. Yeah, the same.
Well, but probably you need to pronounce a little bit in Japanese way if you want to. But basically, if you say someone is Ken, and that's both work in Japan and Australia.
Yeah, this is interesting. And how do you pronounce your Chinese name?
That's a huge difference.
Let me try. I'll probably butcher it. Is it like Jihan? It's written like Jianh.
No,
something like that.
Say Jian.
Jian. Okay, without the H.
H-A-N. That's my surname.
Yeah. So how do you pronounce it?
Zhanjian.
Zhanjian.
Wow, that's pretty
God,
good. Wow, that's the best one. You tried it before.
I cannot believe. I really tried, but you taught me how to say some Chinese phrases. That's why I know it.
I guess you need to be short and right to the point, and that's the way you pronounce it.
Oh my God, I'm amazed at myself.
That's the story of my names. But I usually use Ken, my English name here, because it's quite. I mean, it's the experience is quite different from your guys because you do have a Latin name, because even in the Croatian you can pronounce that, or you can write in the A B C D.
Yeah.
But for most of the Asian people, their name probably can't written in the Latin.
Yeah, Latinic letters.
Yeah, so they have to choose their English name, which is 100% different from their original name.
Yeah.
So it's quite funny experience that in here. Well, you probably know this guy's English name, but you never know their Chinese name or Japanese name. But that's such a deep friendship. If you got someone real name, real name in passport or ID something, you're gonna call him directly in Chinese. So that means, wow, you guys are good friends. You know he's Chinese or her Chinese name.
That's what I was thinking. Like, how can I find some people throughout the internet? If, for example, I know some Chinese friends go back to China and something happens to them, like their identities have been like erased from the internet, like their English identity. how do I find them? How do I again come in touch with them? It's borderline impossible.
Right, that's kind of thing. It's a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
Also during the lecture, so I'm the one who really wants to show up a little bit. I want to kind of like answer the questions or ask the questions, and by my English name, of course. And during the exam, if I write my Chinese name, probably just the lecturer won't realize, oh, that's the guy who asks a lot of questions. I'm gonna give him a little bit positive things, So what I do, I put my English name in between with bracket. So just hope that the lecturer gonna say, oh, that's the guy.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but now I understand your suffering.
A little bit dodgy way to get a higher mark, I guess.
But it's nice. I mean, it's legit. What I was also thinking right now, basically, not only that you have two names and you have two nationalities, but the thing is that you don't have two different passports, because I don't think that a lot of people also know that you're not allowed to have any other passport other than the Chinese one. So you literally need to choose between either having the Chinese one or, let's say, Japanese or Australian or whichever one.
Right.
So you really need to like completely abolish your previous existence as a Chinese person if you want to acquire another one. While for people from Europe, they can easily just apply for another citizenship, and they can have 2, 3, whatever. I believe it's like in the vast majority of countries from Europe. I know that that's the case in the Balkan region, and obviously like countries like Germany, France, UK, I don't know, Netherlands, so probably 99% of Europe, I'm guesstimating.
Yeah. I didn't know that because both China and Japan, they only admit, they don't admit dual nationality.
Yeah.
So actually, I don't have two nationalities, I only have one.
You
one
have
nationality,
one? Okay.
One passport. If you got two nationalities, you got two passports.
Okay, I thought that nationalities are kind of separated from the passports. No. So you can only have like one nationality, one passport, and that's it. Because, as I said, if you're coming from, I guess, the US, Europe, other countries, you can easily have dual or triple citizenship.
That's quite depends on the country's law.
But what do you think about that? Because for me, that's like really cruel when I heard it, that you really need to like get rid of your like previous identity almost, I would say. Like, doesn't that hurt you, like deep down? If you really want to stay here for the long term, become an Australian citizen, basically you need to get rid of your previous citizenship.
Well, right, I've heard a lot of like, especially for Chinese, because Chinese probably the biggest migration group in Australia, and I've heard a lot of them are quite struggling a little bit when they decide to really change their nationality to Australian, which means they are not Chinese anymore. But well, sometimes you have to just let it go with it, because otherwise, especially for Australia, which is really a popular country for migrants. So if you are not a full Australian citizen, there's a lot of things you really constrain yourself, where say permanent residency. I think every international student experienced that kind of confusing or even I'd say embarrassing, disturbing condition when they are seeking job and they realize that they are not citizen, or they don't hold permanent residency, and they can't do nothing. Just what the best you can do, you probably just go back to your country.
Yeah. So most people might not know this, but as a requirement for vast majority of jobs here, you also need to have PR, permanent residence, or being the citizen of Australia. So that's pretty cool.
That's one reason some people have to, drop their permanent, like join the Australian citizens to get a job. Yeah. Well, it's quite up to you. Like, it's an individual preference, or what do you think about your country? It's probably too broad. Probably not for everyone. But anyway, that's definitely gonna be a big decision for you.
So what else can I say about Ken? That you're a big animal lover.
I am.
Did like the animals here attracted you to come to Australia? I mean, it certainly was a thing that attracted me, because I'm obsessed with koalas.
Yeah, it did. I mean, the first time I don't know, before I come to Australia, I really know few thing about Australia, and the only thing that's come up into my mind is kangaroo.
Yeah.
That is
koala?
No, I thought no.
I think that for most people, like koala is above kangaroos. I mean, obviously they think of kangaroos first, but since koalas are much more cuddly, I mean they're much more cute. I mean you kind of want to hug much more koalas than kangaroos. But.
I don't know. I think. Well, anyway, for me, also like the first thing popped into my mind is kangaroo.
Yeah.
And literally before I came here, I thought a kangaroo is hopping everywhere in the city in Australia. So I'm pretty disappointed when I arrived in Sydney and I didn't saw any kangaroo. I was like, where is them? Where are them? This should be like lying on the ground, or on the lawn.
We all like are taught in this fairy tale that basically you have so many kangaroos here around, like I don't know, jumping koalas, I don't know, being wherever on every other tree, but that's not the case. Obviously, koalas are endangered species right now, while kangaroos you can only find in some rural areas.
Yeah, but I promise you can see lots of birds here, lots of like.
Especially in Perth. Were you in Perth?
Perth, no.
There are so many different types of parrots there. I was amazed. Literally, like you have ones in I don't know, covered in red color, ones in I don't know, green, ones in purple. Like it's really amazing.
Beautiful.
Like it's seeing them like flying all around the city. It's really awesome for me. It was at least. I remember now you were at an island really close to Perth where you have one really specific type of animals which are famous for their face that looks like they're laughing all the time. They're called quokkas.
Quokkas, right.
So you went to that island. Was that an amazing experience? Like seeing the animals? Like I'll probably put the picture somewhere around here on the screen of the animal. It's super cute, and your
the happiest animal in the world is there.
Yeah. And they're only found there.
Right. Probably a small portion of the quokkas living close to Perth, but the majority of them live in the island.
Yeah. I don't think that most people know about this animal. I mean, I didn't know up until I saw pictures of you, like you took selfies with them.
Yeah,
they were really so amazing. Then when I researched them on the internet, I was like, fuck, I need to hug them. I need to have selfies with them.
Right.
Yeah.
But because my first impression about Australia is it's full of the nature. It's a country without too much stressful, just like American. Speak of American, where it's New York City or Washington DC, just feel really intense there, like the lifestyle but for Australia, I think most of the people would think about cattle, kangaroo, not much people just hang around.
Yeah. But it's not the case. I mean, at least in big cities such as Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Brisbane.
Right. Yeah. So that's the difference actually between what you imagine and what's the reality.
Yeah.
Like I think the Cosmos City, or say the metropolitan city, are quite similar. I mean, around the world, they're the same.
Now I was thinking, actually switching to another topic.
Yeah.
What do you also really love? I guess you really love anime. We talked about it. Are you a big anime lover? I mean, I know that obviously a lot of people from Japan are obsessed with it because it originates from Japan.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically I was also really into Japanese anime when I was in elementary school and a bit in high school. Right now I maybe watch, I don't know, few movies a year, if that many. And yeah, what do you think about that culture? Because for me it's kind of interesting how this type of concept is, I don't know, this industry is actually really booming in Japan, and it has like since the very beginning of its origins. And yeah, right now I believe from year to year, as it started booming, more and more people are really into it.
Right, especially
think about
the new release, Your Name, the really famous anime movie.
Yeah.
Just,
I was talking with him a few days ago that I watched that movie. It's a new anime movie, and it really, I don't know, it targets your really deep emotions. It's
right. I
really rough
that's
movie
the
sometimes.
One.
But what do you think about, I don't know, these movies being really successful in these Asian countries? Because do you think it's kind of related to the population kind of being more introverted? I don't know, more into, I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, right. I think they're more targeting Asian audience, I would say, because I watched that movie in cinema, and say 99% of the audience are Asians, not much Australian or white guys there. Well, Japanese anime is it's very attractive, and lots of people know I'm like a half Japanese, and they say, oh, you must love anime. But actually, the reality is not 100% of Japanese people are anime lover.
Yeah.
It's not. But this it's just some outstanding thing. It doesn't represent all the population in Japan.
But I believe that in Japan they also like broadcast these movies or these shows on TV, which is not as common as here. Like you really need to see them through the internet. You need to go through some random sources to find all those movies. Well, in Japan, I mean, that's what I heard. It's so famous that it's, I don't know, maybe sometimes during the best like viewing hour, like, I don't know, in the evening, Friday evening or sometimes they literally broadcast these animes.
So for anime series, just it can keep like 20 episodes.
Yeah, in a row.
Well, on TV, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I'm not gonna say 100% of Japanese just are obsessed with anime. But surely, yeah, anime is a quite popular culture in Japan, and I think one reason is it has established for a long time. It's probably, back to 50 years already, a very matured anime industry in Japan. So, like for Japanese young people, their parents are born wise with anime.
Yeah,
so that's why they show high acceptance towards anime. It's not like some fancy stuff, only young people watch it.
Yeah.
It's actually where your parents, even your grandma, grandpa watch that.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, my parents like consider everything that's like drawn, everything that's a cartoon, to be really childish, but this is really mature.
Well, that's another thing is quite good because a lot of Japanese anime, it really talks deeply something, like touching. So it's not like.
As I said, I was on
not SpongeBob, that kind of feeling. Only kids enjoy it, or young people. There's a lot of things that really make you think a lot about your life. So I think that's the fantastic part of Japanese anime.
So as we were talking about anime, I was thinking, since people are kind of really into understanding themselves and I don't know, being really into themselves, that's why most people are more introverted. How come, I don't know, most people in Japan believe in collectivism? I mean, how come, aren't like these, for me, like personally, like these two terms are kind of contradictory. So collectivism basically means that people there care more about the community, more about, I don't know, the group of people itself, rather than being focused on yourself and your achievements and you, I don't know, being independent back in Asia, in China and Japan, I believe as well.
Majority of the Asian countries.
Yeah, like people are more into, I don't know, this collectivistic type of thinking, type of, I don't know, just thinking about the world and how the world functions and how you should go around the world. Like, I don't know, what do you think about, I don't know, this collectivism and
individualism.
People, individualism and kind of people being introverted?
I would say just like you don't understand the Asian country, their collectivism. We don't understand what is that feeling of individualism. Like that's something we've never experienced before. I mean, majority of people in Asia. So it's quite hard to tell you what's the the difference. But I would say I was born and raised in it's more Chinese style family. So one thing I would say it's more collectivism is your parents control take a huge part in their control about their kids. So there's a lot of people complaining that, so lots of young people complaining they didn't develop their own habits or they really go into the way they enjoy, but instead their parents arrange a lot of things for them. So, and that is so common to complain about it because everyone is the same. Everyone is the same, so nobody gonna say, that's bad, or say, hey, that's not individualism or something like that. Because everyone's the same, so you just take it, deal with it. It's definitely not a big deal in China. Like your parents arrange what's your major in college, in uni, and what are you gonna do after you graduate. Well, they even would arrange your job sometimes. I mean, if they got a connection or say 关系, in China?
Yeah, Guangxi basically means. I mean, you can explain it. I mean,
connections, or say.
Connections basically matter a lot. Like networking is the way of living basically there. So if you don't have like anyone who can get you a job, if you don't know anyone who can help you throughout life, if you don't have any acquaintances, then you'll basically fail in life. Like that's a really big thing there. It's basically it basically means like I'll scratch your back, you'll scratch mine. So you need to do a favor to someone to like get into your circle of friends, and then like afterwards, yeah, you'll need to get a return favor.
So I guess that's the one, typical collectivism.
Yeah.
Probably not existing here, or hard to imagine.
Yeah.
In Australia, America.
In the Western world as well as in Australia, like this is kind of an old way of thinking. Like for the parents to decide what you'll need to do exactly in life, for them to guide you through every single step you make throughout your whole life.
Yeah.
It's kind of an older way of thinking because we believe, you are an individual, you can do whatever you want, whatever you set to achieve, you can do it. Well, for you that's kind of strange, as much as it is strange for us to, think of life in a collectivistic way.
Yeah, but, that's right, but I think nowadays, like more and more young Chinese people, or say Japanese people, or more and more Asian young people, just get in touch with international culture, like especially Western culture.
Yeah.
I think that those chance of being arranged by their parents is reducing. I think, like it kind of turns to converge a little bit because internationalism and everything converge. And they tend to be similar now. So, well, I hope, of course, I hope everyone could choose their way of living.
Yeah.
And I hope this could happen in China for most of the kids as well.
But I'm now thinking about a stereotype which ends up being true. Like, what's up with Asian people and being obsessed with every job that's related to numbers? So, like, I've heard a lot of stereotypes about Asians being into accounting, into finance, and then when I came here, like, these stereotypes are vast majority of the time true.
Right.
Like, I don't get, like, what do you think, what's the correlation here? Like, how come Asians are really good at numbers?
I think that's the design of the education, maybe, because
so
the elementary school,
focus?
Right, for the elementary school, junior high school and high school, at least for China, because I've done my high school in China, they really, really put a lot of effort on mathematics.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That is, and their level of mathematics for a Chinese high school student will basically reach up to the level of bachelor degree in America.
Wow.
So they put a lot of effort on that, and in terms of also in China or in Japan, both countries, they got an exam for every high school students at the end of their school, their degree, and that exam basically once a year. So you have to really, really study well for that, and that exam is so important for you. Like it decides which uni you could choose from.
Yeah, I know. I was watching a documentary. That's the case also in Korea. They put a lot of stress on the students.
Right.
Basically, I heard that the biggest suicide rates are for the teens. So for the age of 12 till 19, which is really messed up. Like the highest suicide rates and growing from year to year are from teens because they put a lot of pressure on them because they literally make them believe if they don't do well in this exam, they'll basically fail for the whole life.
Yeah, and mathematics take a really huge part in the exam.
Yeah.
That's why most of Asian people have really good mathematics as a base, they learn a lot.
Okay.
So that's why they do well as international students.
Yeah.
Another reason I would say that's for Chinese, I think, since accounting is a migration major. That's the reason most of people choose that. You gotta say that because a lot of people want to
just moving here
to Australia and come to Australia and hold a permanent residency. So you have to choose from the list.
There is a specific list called skilled occupational list where you have each year updated all the jobs that are wanted here in Australia, and one of them is accounting, and basically that's why a lot of Asian people decide to study these areas because then they can easily get a permanent residence and stay here. So now as we were talking about the life for the students in Japan and basically vast majority of the Asian countries, I was thinking about maybe talking about the work life there. It's also pretty tough. I've heard that the average working hours per day is like 10 hours, which is really messed up.
Yeah.
So people there really expect you to stay at the job half of your day or something like that, which is really crazy. And they really want you to devote your whole life just on one company and for you to build up your career there. I mean,
yeah, because back in Japan there's, well, I would say there's a traditional Japanese career development is they call it in Japanese nenkojo. It means like
too
once you're
sorry,
the
it's
company,
just too long for me.
It's once you get into this company, let's say company XYZ, and you're gonna work there and devote yourself entirely your whole life to this company.
Yeah.
And what you get in return is they won't fire you.
Yeah.
Well, that's
really
really. Yeah, that's a really and well, you get promoted along with the length of time you serve the company. So, but I would say that's a really, really traditional Japanese career. So now especially lots of international companies get into the Japanese market, got their branch there. So probably, like what I mentioned before, like the internationalism, like lots of young people now probably don't want to just go with the traditional way because that's a little bit risky, like you join a company and you also can't leave the company. They won't fire you, but you can't leave the company. Like you leave the company, well, basically you're done.
Well,
like no other company gonna accept you.
Well, that's what I was thinking. So basically, if you've been working for a company for 10 years and you quit, like that means that he is not devoted enough in the company, so we don't want him there. I mean, he's already used good. I mean, he can just basically
not like here, like the job hunting company, like searching for the experienced people and ask them to go to another company which is offering their high salary.
Yeah.
But in Japan, if you switch your job too fast, too frequent, that is definitely a negative sign to your future potential employer. So which means you pay no loyalty to the company. That's gonna be. I mean, that's more severe in Japan. That means what it means for, but probably not here.
I also remembered another documentary that I saw, or was it just a random interview with Japanese people on the street? They were being asked like if they can choose between staying in a company or staying in a relationship, like what would they choose? And most of them would go with staying with the company. Like they would end their relationships. That's how much they are devoted to spend their whole lives within the company. They really appreciate more building a relationship with the company rather than the better half.
For men in Japan, you're unemployed. Basically, you're just a loser. You're just a typicalist entirely.
So harsh.
That is how harsh it is. But probably here in Australia or in America, you're employed. Well, so what? It's kind of that feeling. I'm gonna find a job. I just take a rest for 1 or 2 years and I will be back.
Yeah.
But not in Japan. That is tremendous pressure from your family or from your wife if you're male and you get married. That's especially from your wife, from your kids, or from your peer. If you're unemployed, you fucked up.
Okay, this was a really harsh topic. Maybe we should switch to another one. But this was really interesting for me as well. Yeah, I was thinking about switching to a really stupid topic, but for me, I have a lot of interest in it because I don't understand it. No one understands it. Only you and people from Japan understand it. So this is specifically about the Japanese commercials. Like, why are they so weird? We don't get them. Like, I can probably play a few of them before asking you some questions, but no one understands them. They're really freaky, but only Japanese people kind of like get into them. They fully understand them, appreciate them, and that's just the type that they advertise on TV.
ソメコンソメコンソメパンチポンチじゃないよコンソメパンチうまさが効いてるコンソメパンチコンソメコンソメコンソメパンチコンソメコンソメコンソメパンチパンチで元気コンソメパンチ
What's up with that? I mean, well, so yeah, just maybe to have a backstory before having Ken continue on with the speak about this. We had some conversations about it, and Ken would basically provide a really detailed analysis of each video that I would play to him, of each commercial that I would play to him. So basically, you fully understand it. Like, you don't see the issue with it. How
I
come?
don't see the issue.
Do you see the issue with the commercials here or in the Western world?
I didn't watch too much commercial here, but I would say most of the commercial in Western world, they are quite straight to the point. They show you what they want to sell you, and where you clearly understand that's a commercial, and they want to sell you this stuff, and they try to list all the advantage of their product and say 1, 2, 3, 4 how we superior to other products, and come to buy our product. And that's it. I mean, that's so straight to the point.
But people believe that it's how commercials should be made because that's how you understand them.
I think probably that's the root cause of why Western guys really feel really confused annoyed by Japanese
But they are really weird. So there is a commercial for, I actually still, till this day I have no idea what it's about some jelly beans, but they can pronounce jelly. Japanese people, they pronounce letter L like R, so they say jerry beans, and basically when you search on YouTube jerry beans, you'll end up watching this commercial about jelly beans, and it's so weird. Like, those jelly beans, they have underwear on them, and basically other jelly beans are like flying around and taking the underwear from them, and then just you can see their asses, and they're just flying around and they're just singing a song like jerry beans. It's really messed up. I'll probably play
show me that one.
Jerry beans, hi hi. Jerry beans, hi hi. Jerry beans と呼ぶのは愛しているからかしら。
Jerry beans on my mind.
But yeah, like, most of the commercials are really strange, but then like you provide detailed analysis of why they're doing this, and it makes sense. But for us Westerners or Europeans, I don't know, it's really disturbing.
I think one reason because they didn't provide any subtitle during the commercial, and sometimes you have to understand what it is singing or saying during the commercial, and you understand, well, why they have to sing like that, because the lyrics and what it said, apparently there's a meaning there. And another thing is, well, that's funny, isn't it? I mean, if you want to sell a jelly beans and you just put it there and say, hey, how good it is, how good taste it of it, that's not impressive. Nobody gonna really remember your brand. But suddenly you come up with, like what you said, really brand new way to say how they're chasing each other. It's so funny, and you watch the commercial like you're watching a comedy. You're definitely gonna remember the brand.
This is a really good way of thinking. I never, I don't know, had like this type of mindset to think about, yeah, this is just a way to differentiate themselves from the rest of the competition. Now I thought of another commercial, we discussed it. It was about a Happy Meal in Japan, and basically it was promoting some SpongeBob products. Basically when you would have a sip from the straw, the children, when they would have a sip, they would scream from the top of their lungs, like they would show so much emotions. But for the Europeans and the Western world, it was really confusing. It was like, why are you showing so much emotion? It's a bit scary, like you can see in the comments on those videos on YouTube.
Right. There's another, like Japanese people, their style is, we do show a lot of, where's the extra emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes if you don't show that, well, then the people talking with you probably saying, oh, they didn't understand me. That's why you don't show that kind of emotion, which is extra for you guys. Oh, why you don't show that? You don't understand? Like, where say, especially like, let's say the most common scenario is your friends show you something, like they bought a new clothes, a new scarf or something like that, especially for girls, and you have to make that satisfying sound, prolonged it, and it's like you're so shocked and so surprised. I mean, probably for you, for European or for Western people, you're saying, wow, this guy is just 100%, 200% shocked and surprised, but actually he or she didn't. But he has to do that, otherwise that kind of, you know, for Japanese people, for their customer, that's kind of rude if you don't show that. Like, I show you this thing's like, and you bought it, and why don't show that? Like, you like it, you don't like it? Why don't like it? They're gonna think it that way. Oh, you get some problem with my things?
So yeah, we talked a lot about the Asian culture, Australian also a bit, and the differences. But now I can maybe ask you, what do you know about Croatia? I know that when we met, you actually had no idea what Croatia is, where Croatia is, but then actually you found out where Croatia is and what country is it, because you have a different way of pronouncing Croatia, like
definitely,
like Croatia. So it was something random, like you can pronounce it right now, but from then, like when you went on your translator and you found out how you pronounce it, you remember, oh, this is a country, I know where it kind of is. So yeah, you can maybe share your first opinions that you had about Croatia, if you even had any.
Yeah.
And then maybe so what you learned from me.
So the first time I met with Mislav is at the first day of orientation, I think. Not orientation, but anyway.
It was like our first class. I don't think that I.
We were finding the same bird, and I thought, this huge white guy must come from, you know, Australia. And as soon as I found out his accent is not Australian accent, I was like, oh, okay. And you told me that you could come from Croatia. I never heard of that country. I definitely heard that country before, but in Chinese, never in English. So I thought, oh, that must be a state in America, because they got lots of states, lots of you know, lots of states and different names. So I was like, I was thinking about America, and you said no, it's Croatia, and I have to look it up for my dictionary. Basically, what I learned, what do I know about the country is the music, the piano, you know, there's a Croatia. You can search for this music name. That's a Croatia. What is it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That is definitely, it's a piano music. That's so famous. I mean.
I might be failing at my culture. Is it a really famous song that originated from Croatia? What they're trying to say? I don't get you.
The title, at least the title of this song is Croatia something.
I really have no idea what you're talking about.
Sorry to say that, but I have to admit that's the only thing I know about Croatia.
But didn't you also know about the seaside that I was showing you, like all the islands, all the
I basically have really a vague, gloom understanding where it is. I know it's beside Italy, or if I'm correct.
That's what I said. We share like the same Mediterranean culture.
Yeah, and basically that's it. Because back in back to China or Japan, there's not much news about Croatia, you know.
Yeah.
There's not much news you can read from, so it's like, you know,
because nothing much is
like
actually happening there. But yeah, but right now, I told you this, it's completely changing, at least the tourism. I mean, Croatia always thrives on tourism, but right now it's really booming. I told you that they've been filming their Game of Thrones, the new James Bond movie, Star Wars movie, last movie was also filmed there. Like, it's really booming there, especially this city on the coast called Dubrovnik. I was talking to you about the city, I believe. Yeah. Everything was being filmed there. And yeah, I mean, tourism is booming there, so I don't know, maybe you'll see ads in Chinese, like, go to Croatia on your perfect vacation.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Chinese people love traveling, so I'm definitely going to experience a lot of Chinese stories there.
Yeah, I see oftentimes Chinese people in the capital city, which is in the continental part, and yeah, they're really weird to me. Thankfully, you're not. I mean, what strikes me the most is that they really need to take pictures of every single thing that they see. So if they're in a restaurant, they need to take a picture of a spoon, of a fork, of a knife, of the plate, of the...
Well, they probably, you know, take the picture and post on Chinese Facebook and show off. That's a good way.
But isn't it unnecessary to take pictures of everything?
That's... I would say, well, if you go to a country like Croatia, it's like most of the people don't know how this look like. That's gonna be.
But you know how a spoon looks like. You know how a
but that's
fork
a spoon
looks
from
like.
Croatia.
What the fuck?
See, that's the difference. So you're gonna check. Oh my God, my friend went to Croatia for traveling. I'm gonna check their spoons. I'm gonna check the restaurant. Oh, I'm gonna see the people there. Oh, they looks exactly like American or Russian. No, good to know.
Okay, interesting. Nice.
You know, that's probably for us, especially for us. Like the white people, they probably can't distinguish like distinguish Japanese, Chinese, or Korean.
Yeah.
For us, we can't distinguish like European, American, Britain. No.
Yeah, correct.
So they're gonna take a really good look at it, the people there.
Yeah, you really want to find out like what's the main difference between each
you want to find out, and you failed, 100% you failed, you know, because well, it really looks the same for me. Even now, it's like, I can't tell where you're from.
Yeah, it's the same for me. Like, I can't differentiate between Japanese, Chinese, Koreans.
But you can see a guy, he's from Europe, or a guy from America, right? Can you?
Really hard. Really hard.
Okay.
It really depends. I mean, if someone is really tall, I can guess that he or she is from Netherlands. If someone, I don't know, is kind of fat, America. I know I'm horrible, but
yeah, but yeah, for Asian we can clearly distinguish.
Okay, nice. Okay, so yeah, this will be all for this interview. I'm really happy having you here. I'm really happy that we had the interview, because for me, like, the whole Asian culture is really interesting, and yeah, now some of you might know much more about it, as I know. And yeah, thanks for being here with me.
My pleasure.
Hope that it was a nice experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, really happy having you here. So yeah, this will be all for this episode, and yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.
Thank you for watching.